Good retargeting doesn't feel like pressure. It feels like reassurance. And that's why it works. Hey, I'm Greta, founder of Bringing Simplicity, and retargeting is one of the most misunderstood part of ads. Today, we want to show you why retargeting isn't about chasing people. It's about answering the questions they didn't get answered the first time. Most people don't just flat out say no to your offer. They say not yet because they're busy, they're uncertain, they're comparing. Retargeting exists for that exact moment.
Oh. I feel like, Greta, this part about retargeting is I feel like it's not talked about enough in the, like, people are just like, let's get new leads, let's get new leads, right? But in the strategy piece, which you talk about really well, is like, okay, there's always a retargeting piece to what you're doing. But I feel like in our space, we don't talk about it enough. So I'm really excited about today's episode to be able to dive in with you on that. If you are retargeting, or your ad agency is doing a retargeting campaign for you and it's not converting, it's probably because it feels like to your audience that you're begging. And so what do I mean by begging? I mean, like, you're retargeting, but you're using the same message. So it doesn't look like anything new, right, Greta? Like that's what you see. They're like, oh, they're just gonna slap the same ad or ad, and it's literally the same, like, headline and caption. That's not retargeting, right? It feels like you're begging, and that creates more resistance. And that's not the purpose of retargeting, at least for us. So that bad retargeting, again, is the same pitch. You're making it louder, you're doing it more often, so like that's going to repel your clients from wanting to buy from you, right? Your potential clients from wanting to buy from you. And so every time you do that, you're training them to ignore you, and they're going to continue to ignore you. And so it becomes like you're pressuring them to buy versus inviting them in again. And just like little friendly reminders, right? Retargeting is really reminders. And so good retargeting it's not louder. It does three things. The purpose of it, at least for us, is to do these three things. And that is to close the gap on, whatever, from wherever their resistance is initially, to get them to closer, right? It answers questions that people don't want to ask you, right? They're too polite. Or they're just, maybe they don't know what to ask. And so they just don't want to ask, right? They're kind of shy about asking. And it removes friction that they feel, right? And so it gives them more clarity on what that next move should be. So it should help. What you should be doing is killing objections, showing proof, more proof, and establishing authority in your space. And that's it, right? Not any more than that. I think people sometimes even try to do too much. So you're not pitching more. That's not what it is. And instead of book a call, my spots are filling up, again, go back to testimonials that mirror their situation, the questions, closing the gap, right? Like, that's me, or that's who I want to be, or that's who I was. So client stories, which a lot of people call like case studies, showing case studies of what you've done, and objection breakdowns. So a lot of them should be, and you guys, nowadays with ChatGPT and all the AI tools, like, you should be able to break down objections very, very easily with all of the sales calls you've done, all of the DMs that you've done, and then behind the scenes explaining why your method works. Now,
Judy, you just said that, but I feel like you're glossing over that. I want
yeah,
to make sure people
the
understand.
objections.
Literally, just download the transcripts from your sales calls, specifically the ones
Not too
that
hard.
you didn't make a sale, but even the ones you made a sale, because you
That's
may
true.
have naturally overcome objections without knowing. So just download those transcripts, put it in ChatGPT, say what were the objections that either I overcome or I missed the mark on overcoming, and ChatGPT will analyze your language and shoot you out a list of things. So Judy was like, with ChatGPT, you should be able to do this. Sometimes
I'm like, it's so easy, Greta.
I know, but if you don't think through it like that, of like literally just super easy, what objections did I not overcome? Also, ChatGPT is actually fairly good at analyzing, I don't want to say unspoken language because obviously it only can see the like the actual transcript, but it will analyze like if they just continually say I don't have money, but then what you're saying back to them, they like ChatGPT will walk you through what you needed to say so that they didn't say back to you I don't have the money.
Yeah, and I think I want to add into that a lot of people come to us and they're like, what should I do? What should I put into ChatGPT? So if you're like any of the things that we just said, ask ChatGPT how to do it. So how do I have my transcripts from my sales calls. How do I get objection breakdowns from you? And like Greta said, like what Greta just said is what it will tell you to do. Because I feel like we get that a lot during calls where they're just be like, well, how do you do that? And it's like, just ask ChatGPT how to do it.
Yeah.
It's going to tell you how to do it. Also, if you're someone that's like, oh, I absolutely do not have time. I have hundreds of sales transcripts. Use your VA to do this. And if you do not have a VA, it is 2026. You should not only have one VA, but I'm sorry, you should, if you are a, this might trigger some people, but if you are a true entrepreneur and business, you should have a couple VAs. And that's some inner work that you probably have to overcome, but have your VA do it. These aren't things that you need to be doing either. So, okay. So then you're, behind the scenes explaining about what your method works. So here's where I think, Greta, people miss the mark is they do like step by step. First, we're going to do this. Second, we're going to do this. That's boring. That's so boring. Okay. So boring. I mean, I even find my stuff that like with hiring or with whatever, it's like, oh, it's so fascinating. I love it. But that's so boring. Greta does a really good job with this with our clients, but telling the story while you're explaining your method. So having them visualize, like a lot of that comes from visualizing themselves, right? We were on a call yesterday with people who do solar panels, and it was like clear that they were not telling the story of how you feel after you get relief from not having to pay a $500, $1,000. Some of you guys have $1,000. I mean, your houses are massive, so you have like thousands.
Suck, Judy. Let's be honest. My house, is huge, but my electricity bill now is not comparable to what it was 2 years ago.
That's true. Yeah, that's true too. And some of you guys have, lots of a big family. So, but they're not talking about that, right? The relief. There was no story behind. Besides, like, I'm going to come and install these solar panels. And so you need to tell that story. And so each touch, each line, each word, you should be sequencing them and filling in those missing pieces. And so if you want more explanations like this, and you like me and Greta being really raw with you about your ads and business, make sure you hit that subscribe button and keep following along. Because that's exactly what we do here.
Yeah, so I just want to emphasize that for us, retargeting is about showcasing new messages to the same audience. It also, we try to have it be as personalized as possible. So for example, if we're retargeting people who downloaded a low ticket item and haven't yet purchased the upsell, we want to say that in the ad, right? It shouldn't feel like another pitch. It should build off what you've already provided them, because our goal is that people feel understood, because when they feel understood, they move forward confidently. So I'm going to say it one more time, just so that you can't say we didn't say it. Retargeting isn't about persuasion. It's about creating trust and confirmation that you are the right person for them to move forward. So once this layer is in place, something interesting happens. Results become predictable. Retargeting works when it respects the buyer's process. In the next video, we're going to show you how this entire system becomes repeatable, how we optimize, scale, and remove guesswork from growth. And we'll see you next week.